Get off, please.
Yeah, Dave, have you set your rotation for this weekend?
2 out of 3. So, yeah, it'll be Wicklander and Paulette in that order, and then TBA on Sunday.
I know earlier in the week with the Swatters Club, you'd hinted that maybe Jackson Wiggins would get that Game 3 start. Is he still a guy you're considering for that spot?
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have to use him, I think he would be a candidate. Bolden would be a candidate, Vermillion possibly a candidate, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at probably.
And then speaking of rotations, I saw where Georgia kind of tweaked its rotation, moving Webb to Sunday. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard that Webb might have tweaked his back a little bit, and in the bottom of the 6th of that game, I think it was last Thursday, and at the time, I think that Georgia 0-0 going into the bottom of the 6th. Georgia hit a grand slam home run. That was the only 4 runs of the game. They didn't bring Webb back out in the 7th. So we were wondering when we saw the box score if there might have been something going on there. So I don't know if that's the case. That's just what we've heard. I don't know if they're, just giving him a couple more days to rest.
Hey, Dave, you guys not only lead the country in home runs, but you lead the conference in walks. And I'm wondering what the importance of that combo maybe and what it means to you. Well,
it's a big part of our offense. Whenever you hit the ball out of the park, it's nice when you have a runner on base or two. It's nice to have the ability to score quick like that. But the walks just mean that we're being more patient than we have in the past and recognizing pitches, maybe taking borderline pitches early in the count. And I think that we've done a really nice job of that. Really, the last 25, 30 games, I think we've gotten a lot better at it.
And then heading down the home stretch here, where would you like to see offensive improvements? Where can y'all be a better offensive team?
Yeah, I mean, you can always pick apart everything, I think, as a coach, and that's our job. And, continue to get on base, especially at the top of the lineup. We feel like if we put, with Gregory's leading off, or, if we let off Webb, those guys are guys that need to get on base and score runs for us. We just have to do a good job of scoring runs with 2 outs. And I think we've been pretty good at it all year. But maybe the thing that probably stands out more is just maybe score earlier in the game. We did a really nice job actually in Game 2 at LSU of scoring early. We scored 5 in the first. You don't expect to score that many in the first, but just to run here, there early, I think would be something that could really help us going forward.
Nate?
Yeah, if you do ask Wiggins to start, how difficult it is to have a guy debut start in an SEC game this late in the year?
Well, I mean, it's then throwing the fact that he's a freshman. So I guess it's all difficult, but it's really either you can or you can't, in my opinion. It's late in the year. You've been facing our hitters in scrimmages. You've been facing our hitters in live sessions the last few weeks because he hadn't thrown on the weekend, and we feel like that we can hit with most teams. So it's still baseball. I think it's just really up to the individual to be able to handle it mentally. I mean, that's a tough question to answer. It's more about seeing what he can do. If he can't do it, we'd get him out of there pretty quick.
Just as far as, because when he's gone in as a reliever, it's just been throw as hard as you can. I mean, basically, would it be hard for him like to pace himself and just kind of do the things a starter's got to do?
Well, that's what we've been working him out just in case we needed to do it. He threw 60 pitches the other day, throw 20, take a 10-minute break, throw 20 more, take a break, throw 20 more, and just simulating, throwing 4 or 5 innings there. So, yeah, I mean, it's you do pace yourself a little bit compared to closing a game as to starting a game. But, if he did start the game, it's not like we're expecting him to go 5 or 6, 7 innings. We just want to go 3 or 4 maybe.
Thanks.
Otis?
Coach, other than maybe the OU game and the first Alabama game, has this team gotten more out of the 27 outs than most teams you've coached? I mean, it just seems like they're never out of a game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for the most part, we feel pretty good about being able to fight back. Even if we go into the last inning down 3 or 4 runs, we got a shot. 3 runs, we got a good shot. 4 is a little more difficult. And we found that out the other day. You know, we were so close, but we did hit the ball extremely hard, even when we made outs that inning, except for the called third strike that was out of the zone. And, you know, that's a good umpire that made that call. But, you know, we line out center, we line out the third, and boy, it could have been crazy. But I think our team is, they'll fight you for 27. And if it's within a few runs, we still have a good shot going into the last inning. At least we feel like we do.
Thanks.
Hey Dave, how you doing?
Good.
Georgia took 2 out of 3 at Vandy, and they took 2 out of 3 at Mighty Mizzou. We know how hard that is. What's your take on them as a road team, and you know, how impressive is that they won a series of Vandy?
Well, the Vandy series is the one that really jumps out at you because, you know, it's hard to take a series from Vandy anywhere, whether it's neutral site or at home or on the road, especially. Georgia's roster is loaded with talent. I was looking it over. I think they only have like 3 players in the whole roster that aren't from the state of Georgia, and that's how good that state is. There's a bunch of Division I schools there that are really competitive. You have Georgia Tech. A lot of schools go into Georgia and get some of their best players, and there they are. And they've had some injuries too. They had some injuries in the fall, or they'd have even better pitching staff. They've had a couple of their top pitchers go down with season-ending injuries. So they have a lot of talent. Coaching staff's good. I've known Scott Strickland, coached with him with Team USA in the summer of 2011. He was the head coach at Kent State at the time. So I know what he's all about, and I know how good a coach he is. So they're good. They're like everybody in the league.
And I guess there's a chance of rain this weekend. It's kind of a shock, I know. But what's your take on the forecast? Are you anticipating maybe having to play yet another doubleheader?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a possibility. I mean, you got 40, 50%, 30% on Sunday. That's last I saw. It's just that time of year. You got a lot of rain floating around. I'm sure that, you know, if we have to adjust a game, if we had to move something up, move something back, we'll do whatever we need to do.
I just got one more. It's been a while. How good is it going to be at home? Because it's been a couple weeks, and then I guess you're going to be able to have a few more fans than you did the last time you played at home. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's really good to be back. You know, we weathered the storm at 2 tough places, went 4-2 on the road, back-to-back weekends. And that's always, you know, when you look at your schedule and you think, wow, I got to go on the road 2 weekends in a row in this league, it's tough. How are we going to handle that? And I think we did okay, especially playing the teams that we did and how good they usually are at home. But it's going to be good to be at Baum. It's going to be good to see a lot of fans in the stands, and hopefully they're loud. And I sure hope we play well.
Thanks, Dave.
Nick?
Coach, kind of circling back to pitching, it's that third day has always kind of in the last few weeks been to be determined. Is that what you kind of prefer, is to have that kind of open for a decision, or would you like to hammer down someone to pitch that third day?
Well, I think in our situation this year, it's probably the right thing to do. If I had, you know, another guy that was throwing like those first 2, I would love to plug him in there and just say, hey, here you go, 1, 2, 3, go get them. The rest of you guys are coming out of the pen. But I don't feel like we have that luxury yet to be able to announce all 3. So that's kind of why we feel like that we should just leave it open and take each game one at a time, obviously, and just use whoever we have to try to win the game that day and move on to the next day. You know, we feel like offensively that we can score a lot of runs, and you just never know. You'd hate to go out on a Sunday and score 15 runs and you get beat 16-15 because you used guys or saved guys, whatever may happen. You just gotta go and get the game you got to get. We've told our players that. Let's just try to win the one that's in front of us, and we'll make, you know. But as far as the coaching part of it, we'll make the decision for that third game after the second game when we feel like what's our best option.
Randy?
Dave, talk about the week for Connor Nolan. How's he done this week? He had a rather rough outing. And talk about his progress that he's made this week.
Well, he's thrown a couple of bullpens. He threw a regular bullpen, which is, the 60-foot, 6-inch bullpen, normal distance, and you throw what's called a short box where you're shorting everything up and you're just really working on locating. And it's been fine. So hopefully when he gets out there this next time, he does a good job and has some confidence that he can get the job done, because we know he's got good stuff. It's all about location.
Do you think the batting orders kind of settled in, such as Robert staying in the 6th hole, or do you see that still somewhat in motion?
I think it's pretty locked up right now. And I mean, if you look back at the weekend, Robert hits behind Franklin now, and Franklin drove in 10 runs last weekend. And I think part of the reason of that is that they knew that Robert was coming up next, and they didn't want to walk him, and they had to pick their poison a little bit. Robert hits a home run early in the series, and they see that. Robert statistically has got about the same numbers as Franklin, not quite as high batting average, but it's right there. And I just think it's now, if we can get our leadoff man, and it's probably going to be Gregory, to reach base, I think it could really make our offense a little bit deeper.
Coach coming back around.
Yeah, Dave, this may be a little bit of a dumb question, but what are Kevin Kopp's kind of draft and professional prospects? I know he's a 6th-year guy, and age is a big factor with that kind of stuff. Well,
we're getting calls on him, a lot of questions, and can you explain how this? They'll ask us questions. We just tell them, come watch him. If you haven't watched him in person, come do what you do. Come see him with your own eyes, and we'll give you what we got. But yeah, there's definite interest in Kevin, and the age is the age. If you can pitch, you can pitch, and maybe he's 23 and a half or whatever he is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you got to sit in rookie ball somewhere. There's not a lot of minor league teams anymore like there used to be that, you take an older kid, stick him in high A ball or double A pretty quick and let him see what he can do. If he can do it, do it. If not, move on to the next guy. I think that's he'll be fine.
And then also, you don't see a lot of relievers win pitching awards and stuff. I know he's just named the pitcher of the month for April. Do you think that just kind of his uniqueness and being able to go multiple innings, multiple times each weekend makes him more unique in that manner? Yeah, I mean, he's not just a one-time of the weekend guy if you don't use him a whole lot. He can go extended innings. He's not just a 1 or a 2 inning guy. He's not just finishing games. He doesn't have the label next to his name says, hey, he's their closer. He's a reliever. I mean, he'll come in down a run, tie game, up a run, or he'll finish a game, or he could go 5-6 innings if you needed him to, if he kept his pitch count down. I mean, he's built up for all that, and he's strong enough for that. And he has the experience, and he wants to do it. So he's unique in many ways, but he's just the experience factor there. I think what throws him over the top.
Hey, anything else?
Yeah, not for me.
Bob?
Sorry, I was having trouble with my mute button. Imagine that. We talked last week about you guys sports supporting each other, and the softball team won the SEC title this, I guess, 5 years or whatever after going 1-23 or whatever it was. Just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Well, my thoughts are that just what an incredible accomplishment by Courtney and her staff, young ladies. I mean, it's amazing. I've been out to watch them a few times, watched, almost all the games, at least the last couple of games over the weekend. And, just what a turnaround from what she inherited. And it's all about the culture that they've created down there. And it's a winning culture, and it's a team culture. And it's, I'm sure there's been some tough days and some tough decisions and some tough conversations by our staff with former players and their players on what they wanted to do, and they've done it. And they've gotten the people in there that believed and worked. And their staff, that's coach of the year, staff of the year right there in the SEC, in my opinion.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Yep.
All right, we'll finish it there. Appreciate your time, Coach.
Okay. See you guys.